Episode 12, copyrighted by Marie D. Henry. Patrick's Landing. The snow had not piled up on the hard surface of the road, and it was good walking. Usually everyone rode on the bobsled, but the cold forced the men to walk to keep warm. The snow, crisp with frost, made the steel runners of the bobsleds squeal loudly as they moved over the icy crystals. The air hurt Oswald's lungs with each breath, and when he exhaled, it left his mouth in a swirl of white vapor. His fingers gripping the handle of his double-blade axe pained in protest against the biting cold. He changed the heavy axe to his left hand and pushed the other into the pocket of his heavy wool mackinaw. Mr. Doucet had suggested to the boss to keep the men in camp for the day, as the temperature had dropped to 30 below zero. To that suggestion, the boss had roared in disgust. "Did I hire men who are scared of a little frost in the air? Any man who stays in camp today can pack their gear and head out for home. Hit the breakfast tables, and then you had all better be at the cutting area before I get there." With that order, he had turned on his heels and left them to decide if they wanted a job or not. He called their pride and needs, and knew that not a man now would stay away from work, Oswald thought. He knows the lives of their families depend on the money they make during the winter. We have to go out in all kinds of weather and cut down our quota of logs, returning to the bunkhouse at dark, bone-tired and often suffering frostbite to fingers and toes. As if that is not bad enough, there is the lice and other vermin that seem to spread from nowhere to every crack in bedroll and clothing. As for the food, except for breakfast, it is not very good. We get potatoes with salt pork or fish for supper. Lunch usually is bread and molasses washed down with hot tin mugs of black tea prepared by one of the cookies, who always come out with us. If I get my farm, there will be no more of this life for me, Oswald promised himself, and resentment rose up in his heart as he thought of the boss's attitude and lack of compassion. The cookies would make sure that the men had water to drink. They would go to the river or a brook, and after shoveling the snow away, would cut a hole in the ice and draw water with a galvanized pail. This they carried to the men and also used it to make hot black tea. They would tramp down the snow as best they could, and then in the middle of the large circle they would pile wood for a fire. After this was burning, they would use a strong Y-shaped limb stuck into the snow and kept at a certain height over the fire by another Y-shaped limb. On the end of the large limb, they would hang a pail of water.